potatoes, all varieties, $3.99 for a 5-pound bag. Fresh ground beef, all size packages, just $2.99 per pound, saving $1. Hot price old time split top wheat bread, only $3.99 for a 22-ounce loaf. Select varieties of Arm & Hammer laundry detergent, just $9.99 for a 75-ounce bottle. Huggies pull-ups, all sizes for boys and girls, only $14.99. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
And you're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Friday, February 15th, 2019. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us. The Premier David Burt today sounding the alarm against the Royal Gazette newspaper, accusing them of sabotaging fintech industry development. During the motion to adjourn this afternoon, the Premier said a reporter from the Gazette allegedly caused a prospective company to part ways with the island following intense scrutiny. Here's what he had to say.
This is no ad hominem attack. This is no retaliation under the cloak of parliamentary privilege. This, Mr. Speaker, is a day of reckoning. It is to put the people of Bermuda on notice that the Royal Gazette cares more about its political mission than it does the success of the island of Bermuda. It is now crystal clear that the Royal Gazette has joined hands with the opposition One Bermuda Alliance in a concerted effort to cast doubt and irreversibly tarnish this government's work in the diversification of this economy. I speak specifically, Mr. Speaker, to the fintech industry. At every turn, we are treated to a litany of endless speculation, baseless questions, and falsehoods, all designed to derail any possible success in this area, Mr. Speaker. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, it is entirely coincidental that I'm giving this speech a day after the largest bank in the United States announced its own plans to launch its own cryptocurrency. So if you're going to ask me, Mr. Speaker, who am I going to trust, the opposition or J.P. Morgan, I'm going to take J.P. Morgan.
Meanwhile, Mr. Burt says the move has cost Bermudians new jobs, and he issues a warning for those who oppose the work of the government.
Thanks to our daily newspaper, aided and abetted by those who want to see the government fail, he will now have to continue his search as this company is no longer an option. So, Mr. Speaker, as I close, there is a challenge to be laid down. And that challenge is to those who oppose us and the work of which we are doing. Do your politics. Represent those that demand that you do so. Question, object, debate, all that is fair. But if your mission is one other than ultimately ensuring the success of Bermuda and Bermudians, then please be warned. The people of Bermuda will not forgive you, and Mr. Speaker, I will ensure personally that they will never forget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Meanwhile, Gary Marino spoke with Premier David Burt about his comments on the floor of the House of Assembly today and their implications from a media perspective and what they could mean for press freedom.
How can government blame a newspaper for a company opting out of Bermuda? I mean, surely the government should have the wherewithal to convince a company to ignore negative reporting.
Here's what I'll say, Gary. I'll say that the government had the wherewithal to get this company here. We worked hard since we were first introduced to the company in September while we were overseas at a conference, and through the Business Development Agency and the government, we worked hard to get that company here. The fact is, was it not for the report in the newspaper, they would have been continuing their mission and setting up. But I think the real challenge, and you're saying, shouldn't the government have the wherewithal, I guess, to ignore negative reports? Companies have a choice in jurisdictions where they operate, Gary, and companies do not want to have their name play a sideshow to internal domestic politics. And so companies will go to countries where that doesn't happen. And we want, and I want, all parts of Bermuda to recognize that we are not going to be successful if we do not recognize this.
Your comments can be construed as perhaps an attack on the free press, and that's something that's frowned upon in the international community. I mean, how do you respond to that?
Oh, this is absolutely not an attack on the free press. In my statement, I said that as politicians, we are fair game regarding our decisions, regarding how we spend taxpayers' funds, use public property, and the decisions which we make. This is not about us. This is about a private company that in no way, shape, or form had any type of interaction, wasn't asking for any special government benefits or anything else. And the fact is that companies have choices in jurisdictions in which they wish to operate. And one would expect that those type of things would be respected in a modern international financial center such as Bermuda. So companies will go to places where their names do not have to be part of a domestic political squabble.
Let me read a quote from you here. If your mission, and this is to individuals, even though the Royal Gazette was included, you made a generalization, but it can be seen as a direct threat to the RG. It says here, if your mission is one other than ultimately ensuring the success of Bermuda and Bermudians, please be warned that the people of Bermuda will not forgive you, and I will ensure they will never forget. That's a threat, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly isn't a threat, but I think you can hold it as a promise. And it's a promise to say that my job is to make sure that we bring economic diversification to this country. And if your mission is against and counter to the success of this country, then I will call you out, Gary. We cannot do this. We have unprecedented challenges of which we are facing. There are young men and women inside of this country right now, one young man who had not worked since he graduated from May, who received a letter today saying that the recruitment is going to be stopped. There was office space that was going to be rented. There were houses that were going to be rented. If we want to grow this economy, then we have to recognize that we have to work together and leave private companies out of our political squabbles.
And of course, that was Premier David Burt speaking there with our Gary Marino. Meanwhile, Dexter Smith, editor of the RG, responded, quote, "It is regrettable that the Premier of Bermuda has used the House of Assembly as a bully pulpit to turn public opinion against the Royal Gazette. We stand by the journalism that was in effect with regard to the company." He says willing no longer to do business in Bermuda. The questions asked were justifiable in these times where fintech unemployment and underemployment are among the significant talking points. Our attention attracted by the sports trading reference that was listed on the jobs board, a quite unusual job posting. Any journalist worth his salt would be curious as to what that meant, and so we asked questions and wrote another anodyne business story in the overall scheme of things for this company to then make an about turn over the merest public scrutiny surely begs more questions. The Royal Gazette is not in cahoots with the One Bermuda Alliance. Many within the opposition would find that suggestion as laughable as I do, given the treatment we have dished out to them before and since the election. What I've stated from the time I became editor is that this is a fair media and equal opportunity media. I welcome all manner of opinion, pro or anti-government, and from the government/Progressive Labor Party and from the opposition. If one makes more use of this largesse than the other, it is not on us. From the start of this second term in government, we have always wished the PLP the best, but we will not ever stop asking questions or looking into areas some would prefer us not to, end quote. Once again from the Royal Gazette. Coming up, casino gaming, quarterly stats, and your weekend weather updates. Stay with us.
Save $1.30 on Purdue fresh chicken leg quarters, only $1.59 per pound. Fresh blueberries, 1 pint, just $3.99, saving you $3. Hellman's mayonnaise, hot price, just $5.99 for a 30-ounce jar. General Mills Cheerios cereal, only $5.49 for a 12-ounce box. Save $2.66 on Ocean Spray cranberry juice, only $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. Visit our website at www.marketplace.pm for more weekly specials.
You can count on us.
At Argus, our interest is you. Each of you. Around here, we know that when two people seem the same, they can have very different insurance needs. For their health, home, work, and future. Which is why we take the time to get to know you as an individual, so we can provide insurance coverage that fits your life. Because after all, our interest is you.
The
The Bermuda Olympic Association's Women in Sport Committee invites you to be the champion of your life. A banquet and expo on March 8th and 9th at the Fairmont Hamilton Princess. In celebration of International Women's Day, our illustrious banquet keynote speakers are U.S. Olympians Hazel Clark and Gerald Miles Clark, while a panel of some of Bermuda's top female athletes, past and present, will be featured at the expo. Join us in encouraging girls and women to be the champions of their lives. For more information, visit olympics.bm.
Welcome back. The financial standing of the Bermuda Casino Gaming Commission back in the spotlight this evening. The Commission's annual financial report for the 19 months leading up to March 31st, 2017 was tabled today in the House of Assembly. It follows accusations by the Royal Gazette that the Commission was being secretive by allegedly refusing to disclose its financial details for the past 2 years. Tarai Trott looked at the documents and filed this report.
According to the documents, the Bermuda Casino Gaming Commission had $725,000 in cash as of March 31st, 2017, and was due to collect some $610,000 from the government, bringing its total financial assets to just over $1.3 million. The Commission had liabilities and accounts payable totaling nearly $240,000, leaving with just over $1 million once the liabilities were taken into account. When it came to revenue, the Gaming Commission's annual report shows a total of more than $4 million in revenue, which included a $3.7 million grant from the government. Elsewhere, the Commission paid out just over $2.7 million in expenses for the period, including $1.1 million for staff and expenses and $266,000 for board member fees and associated costs. This included $400,000 for legal fees and $187,000 for the Commission's rent. The board of the Casino Gaming Commission comprises of 5 commissioners, with the chairman earning $22,000 annually, $18,000 per annum for the deputy chairman, and $15,000 per annum for the commissioners. The documents show commissioners spent $95,000 for travel in the 19 months to March 31st, 2017. Tarai Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Tarai. In other news, employment income boosted by $11.5 million within the hotel and restaurant sector, and all other sectors recording the largest increase. This latest information contained in the 2018 third quarter bulletin of statistics. More in this report.
Total employment income went up 1.4% or $11.5 million. The hotels and restaurants sector had one of the largest increases in employment income at $3.9 million, while the banking, insurance, and real estate sector rose by $2.9 million and the construction sector by $1.9 million. The island hosted 94,966 visitors by air in the third quarter of 2018, an increase of 5.1% on the same period the year before. Visitors spent $6.8 million more on accommodation and food, but in contrast, expenditure on shopping, entertainment, and transport was down by $1.8 million. 60 cruise ships came to Bermuda shores carrying 190,115 passengers, down from 64 cruise ships carrying 200,455 passengers during the same period in 2017. The drop in cruise numbers, blame it on Hurricane Florence, which forced 6 cruise calls with an estimated 13,900 passengers to cancel their scheduled visit during the month of September 2018. This resulted in total estimated expenditure for cruise passengers to decline by 4% to $30.8 million. Residents' overseas expenditure went up 8.6% to $15.8 million, with most spending their cash on clothing and footwear valued at $500,000. Total imports increased 12.6% to $275.4 million year over year, with industrial machinery imports up 12 million. Imports from the United States of America increased $36 million compared to the third quarter of 2017. Imports from the UK increased $1.6 million, while the value of imports from all other countries rose $0.7 million. In contrast, imports from the Caribbean and Canada declined by $4.3 million and $3.2 million respectively. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, turning to weather news, it was a wonderful rain-filled day today. Well, if you were a duck, or perhaps if you needed water for the water tank, the good news is that we have sunnier conditions to look forward to for our weekend. Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. Good evening. I'm your AccuWeather meteorologist, Daji Aswad. As we head into your satellite, still pretty active here across the Atlantic, but we're starting to notice that moisture move on out. Earlier this morning, we got heavy amounts of rain. In fact, more than 2 inches of rain were reported here in Bermuda. And from 1 a.m. until about 7 a.m., an inch and a half of rain came down in just about 6 hours there. So yeah, we had a whole bunch of precipitation. Now that's starting to taper off, just a few showers. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 knots, humidity 85 to 90%. And we're sitting in the upper 60s currently. Waves in the reef 1 to 2 feet and waves out 4 to 7. We'll continue to see your tides here. Next low tide 10:40, 8 p.m. tonight. Your next high tide 5:20, 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then another low tide to follow at 11:54 a.m. on your Saturday. High tide following at 5:40 p.m. Saturday evening. At this time, no cautions are in place for your marine forecast. Now, for tonight, we're still talking once again, partly cloudy conditions, breezy, and some showers in places as that front is still close to us. You're looking at a low of 64. We head into the futurecast. Friday at 8 p.m. is what we're kicking off with, and that front still in our vicinity. Some moisture still across the island around 8 p.m., but the bulk of the moisture begins to scoot its way out towards our east. Into your Saturday morning, still going to be some lingering moisture, but overall starting to dry on out. We will be looking at another chance for some wet weather into your extended forecast, but as you kick off your weekend, partly sunny skies and looking at breezy conditions, rather feeling those breezy conditions with a high of 71 and a low of 65. As for our Caribbean islands, current conditions into Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad, looking at clouds, but into Barbados and Trinidad, a better chance for some shower activity. Noticing trades picking up in towards the windwards. 90 for your high into Trinidad and a low of 74. We continue into your getaway forecast. Tomorrow in Toronto, 28 with a low of 10. 43 in New York, mostly cloudy skies. And into Atlanta, 65 with rain coming into the southeastern United States. Miami, 81 degrees. Pretty warm and remaining dry. London 57 with some sun trying to move on through in between those clouds. Now here at home for your Saturday, you could see a shower in the morning hours, but really going to see a better chance for some shower activity on your Sunday. Monday will dry out once again for a brief period of time. Monday night, another chance for a front to press on through. Really going to see showers Monday night, really early Tuesday morning, and then high pressure will build in for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
My name is Kevin Roberts. I'm a taxi driver / ambassador. My father's with BF&M, so am I. Half of my family always been seen to be with Bermuda Fire Marine. I tried a different provider at one time, but I wasn't too happy with the competition. Because back then it took too long to settle claims. They questioned every claim, and I never really had that problem with BF&M. I'm quite happy with it.
At the Bermuda Festival, there's something for everyone in 2019. From international acts, the Manhattan Transfer and Shaka Khan, to Bermudians Heather Nova and Rebecca Falkenberry. Our plays include A Midsummer Night's Dream, Masterclass, and Nina Simone for Women. There's music for all, jazz, rock, classical, and even a cappella. And with modern dance and family entertainment, the list is complete. For tickets, visit ptix or bermudafestival.org. Celebrating the empowerment of women. She is art.
Over 3,000 residents currently rely on financial assistance, and about 1/3 are seniors. Health Minister Kim Wilson today announced new reforms to the aid program, which now falls under the Ministry of Health. More now in this report.
only 26% are able-bodied adults. In fact, as of January 2019, there were 3,268 recipients in total, and the breakdown is as follows, Mr. Speaker. 1,184 were pensioners or seniors, 896 persons were with disabilities, 214 were able-bodied employed, 362 persons were low earnings, and 612 were child daycare allowance recipients. Financial assistance is committed to making work pay, and its award structure provides a foundation for this, as persons do not lose all benefits if they find some form of employment. More work is being done to advance this policy to help get more people back to work.
The minister also aims to recover debts to offset the cost benefits through property owned by former clients, in addition to other changes.
Customer service training is being sourced to commence before the summer because we want all of our workers to have a courteous, sensitive, and professional approach towards our clients and their needs. A new intake process is also being implemented. The department has reviewed their pre-screening process, and the new system should reduce the time that clients will have to sit for their initial interviews. Further, a 30-day window has also been implemented so that clients will receive a response in a timely manner. Job search sheets have been replaced with mandatory usage of the Bermuda Job Board. Clients are expected to visit the Department of Workforce Development, meet with a career development officer, have their resumes updated, participate in skills testing, and search for employment opportunities on the job board. Evidence of this activity must be submitted to the Department of Financial Assistance to qualify for a financial award.
Out of the 1,100 seniors on financial aid, about 620 own their homes, which the government may use to recoup funds. Shadow MP Patricia Gordon-Pamplin explores the concerns.
We have to look at cause and effect. There may be situations, and I don't know it for a fact, but there may be situations in which children of seniors are allowing their parents to live on financial assistance so that they can protect their inheritance and the family estate. And the question is that if a senior has sacrificed in her formative years to provide for her old age, and now she's at old age and she may be land rich and cash poor, then financial assistance will be kicking in. So it's something that really needs very close consideration before we start to delve into taking money back from seniors and their estates. But we certainly want to ensure and encourage children whose parents are in that circumstance that if they have the ability to assist in looking after their parents, let's do your fair share and what is the right and decent thing to do, as opposed to allowing your family member, your senior family member, to live on financial assistance so that you can protect your own inheritance.
In other news, concussions have been discussed in and around sports for years, and recently a Bermudian's experience of having concussions came to the forefront with her essay written and published by a magazine. Earl Baisden has the details.
An essay by Bermudian footballer Leah Smith titled Concluding Concussions has been published in the NYU Stern Student Voices, this after being selected as one of the top 10 essays from her Stern freshman's entry class. Smith, who herself has been a victim of concussions, wrote the essay based on experience and research.
As I began doing more and more research and out like the intricacies of concussion, I became more interested, which allowed me to add a lot of depth to my essay and create a unique solution for concussions. So I would say that definitely as I got more into the research, I became more and more interested in concussions and create that final product.
How does concussions affect people's everyday life?
It definitely takes a mental toll on a person. On my third concussion, I was bedridden for about a week and a half, where I was home the entire day, had my lights turned off, wasn't allowed to really communicate, be on my phone or be on my computer. So that definitely can cause at least slight depression. With some people, it could cause more effects, but then later it can impact your balance, your memory, having chronic headaches, which is something I suffered from and was lucky enough to actually be able to get treatment on it and do therapy on it through NYU Langone's facilities. They actually specialize in rehabilitation with concussions. So I was lucky enough to have that, but a lot of people aren't able to have those facilities, and so I think doing the basic things is very important.
During your studies, what are some of the symptoms that people can see in anyone following a collision that they could possibly have a concussion?
The main one definitely, which I think most people should know at least, is loss of consciousness. That's a simple one. That one, you need to go to the hospital immediately to just check that everything is okay. But interestingly enough, my 3 concussions, I never lost consciousness. So the main things that they looked for were dizziness, headache, blurred vision, nauseousness, vomiting, dilated pupils, fatigue. Those are the ones that I can think of right now. But also, a lot of the symptoms don't kick in immediately. A lot of them could actually happen a day or two after receiving a concussion. So it's always important to pay attention to a child a few days after getting a blow to their head, because they could feel okay right after the incident, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a concussion.
I'm Earl Baston with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Earl. We'll be right back after this short break.
Price Rate is your one-stop shop with something for everyone. Household goods for kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom. Aisles of bulk groceries at value prices. A complete selection of fresh meat and produce. And an extensive range of frozen items to cover every meal. Wines from around the world and beer and liquor at discount prices. Visit Price Right at our 2 locations in Pembroke and Warren. There's always something new and always something for everyone.
Earl Baston has tonight's sports report.
In what has been set up as a repeat of the 2018 final, as CAC medalists Noah Brown and Micah Franklin advanced to the men's final of the Bermuda National Squash Championships after semifinals last night. Defending champion Brown defeated Christian Muldoon 11-5, 11-7, 11-3, while Franklin defeated former multiple champion Patrick Foster 11-9, 16-14, 11-7. The defending ladies champion Rachel Barnes will meet Sarah Nicholson in the ladies final. This after Barnes defeated Megan Jackson 11-1, 11-3, 12-10. Nicholson defeated Juliette Ferrari McComb 9-11, 13-11, 11-8, 11-5. '17 Grand World Champion in single rope freestyle Stuart Isaac from Ohio has been on the island and explains how the sport has helped him to develop.
So I've been in part of jump rope since I was 5. It's about 19 years now. And through the sport, I've had a lot of opportunities for leadership development, character building, learning crucial skills like teamwork, but also I reap a lot of cognitive benefits from it as well. As Coach C says all the time, every time you cross your arms, there's like a pathway in your brain that like engages both sides of your brain. And so I'm now a graduate student at MIT studying aerospace engineering, going for my PhD, and I think I attribute a lot of my success to the sport of jump rope.
Toni Dickerson, a female double dutch jump rope champion during the 2016 World Championships, is amazed at what she has seen in just a week's time.
Bermudian kids are like a pool of talent, right? So I've seen kids that come in, they can't even jump, can't even get their feet off the ground, and by the end of the week, they're literally jumping. Even double unders, I've seen some crisscrosses from kids who came in and couldn't even get the rope underneath their feet, so that's amazing.
Kiana Dill and her Norwich City ladies teammates took on Ipswich Town women at the Plantation Park, the two sides meeting just days after the men's clubs went head-to-head at Carroll Road. Bermuda international Dill made her first Norwich appearance as they picked up a 3-0 win. Bermuda Football Association President Mark Wade and General Secretary David Sabir have been invited to the 3rd edition of the FIFA Executive Football Summit set for Istanbul, Turkey.
We've just concluded the summit and the day's meetings and discussions. The topics that we discussed in the morning session, we talked about a Nations League at the worldwide level. We talked about FIFA Club World Cup and revitalizing that competition. We also talked about the World Cup in 2020. 2022. In the afternoon sessions, we've got an update on FIFA Forward 2.0, which is the funding program that all 211 nations have access to. And we had talk on women's football and certainly the Women's World Cup that's coming up in Paris.
Kobe Reed, Rye Arrington, and their Valley Forge Military Academy basketball teammates escaped Doc Mennonite Academy with a 66-55 victory in the semifinal round of the Bicentennial Athletic League playoffs. Quinay Otterbridge represented the University of Hartford during the David Henry Valentine's Invitational hosted at the Boston University Track and Tennis Center. Otterbridge ran the third leg for the Hartford women's distance medley relay team that ran a season best time of 12:36.85, winning Heat 3 and finishing 22nd overall. Meanwhile, members of the Bermuda Pacers Track Club will compete in the 2019 Armory Youth Championships in New York. The event will be held at the Armory on Monday, February 18th, and will see hundreds of junior athletes from across the region taking part. The Bermuda Bicycle Association announced the 2018 award winners. 8 awards were handed out, with Matthew Oliveira named the Male Rider of the Year and Caitlin Conyers named the Female Rider of the Year. Other awards went to Alex Miller, who was named the Most Improved Junior. The Junior Rider of the Year was Nicholas Narraway. The Most Improved Adult was Connor White, while the Race Official of the Year was Anton Gilbert. Race Organizer of the Year was Nigel Godfrey, and Club Person of the Year was Erlina Ingham. In Summersby Men's Classic Bowling League action inside the Work Lanes last evening, and saw the Tele Bermuda High Speeders defeat the Noon Mix-Ups 20-10. Team Unsponsored went down 28-2 to the Gosling-backed Seal team, while Team Relive fell 26-4 to Phones Plus. Team Electric defeated Team Amstel 21-9, and Team Metro defeated the Bye team 25-5. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
Thanks, Earl. Well, that's our newscast. I'm Diane Brewer. Thanks for sharing your Friday evening with us. We truly appreciate you all. Have a beautiful weekend. Good night.